Hi, this is Hope and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to sew in loose strands on your project. I have this piece that I did in my previous video about doing some color changes, and I have these strands sticking out right here, so I will use this to show you how you would sew in any strands that you have sticking out. This is actually very perfect because strands like these are actually quite short and they can be hard to sew in versus ones that are long. But when you have long strands, you are taking away the amount of yarn that you have in your ball, so you'll lose the amount that you have, and so you might end up having to buy more. But if you cut off less, you can still sew them in, and I hope that this helps you out so you don't actually have to waste your yarn. You will need this tapestry needle right here. Smooth end is better because then it's not going to yank on your yarn. And of course you will need some scissors. If you have long strands of yarn, you would usually put your yarn through the eye of the needle, and then you'll start weaving your yarn through the loops and pulling it out. But when you have short pieces like this, there's really no room to maneuver your needle. And I actually like to do this method with either types of yarn, whether it's a long strand or a short strand, because I choose where and how many loops I want to weave my yarn through by first weaving my needle through and then I will put my yarn and pull it through. So I will show you this right now. So let's take this end right here and let's see which way it'll go easier. So this one seems like it's gonna go this way better. So I will take my needle and I'll put it through one of the loops and find a path for it. I like to weave in place of the same color so that it does not stand out. So here I have been able to put my yarn through 4 loops. So I'll push my needle through, and now I will pull out. I mean, obviously this is not enough, especially if you're doing a major project like a blanket. That is not going to be enough, especially with laundry and tumble drying and all that stuff. So I will continue. I like to weave in as much as I can, and so that's what's hard when you have a short strand. But using this method where you put your needle through first and then you put your yarn into the eye of the needle and pull out, you're able to sew in most of your strands without having to waste your yarn. Of course, if that's not an issue for you, it doesn't really matter. So, I mean, this piece right here, I really don't have to sew it in. So, I'm just going to put my scissors as close as possible without snipping on my loops, because if you do that, that'll ruin your project. And here I have weaved in this end right here. And you don't even see it because it's in the same color. So here, for example, I have the end where I, switched colors, and my yarn, when I tied it, is kind of misplaced. That's okay. Just find a way where it will turn nicely, or kind of do a crossover like this when you sew it in. So again, even with these, I'm first going to put my needle through. Sometimes you'll be able to find places where you can just go all the way across like this. You don't have to make it super complicated by weaving in like up and down and across and around. Sometimes just straight across is enough. Just like this, and then once you straighten out, like see right here, I didn't even have to snip anything off. And you don't even see it on the other side either. So you can do this with all of your strands. Doing the sewing in where it's not all the way straight across actually does make it more secure, but I guess it just depends on your stitches. There are some that, for example with the single crochet, those are pretty tight, so straight across will be just fine. Then you may have some stitches where you have some gaps, like a chain one in between, and if you were to do a straight across, you will still be able to see it in some areas, and it might be able to slip out. So you may want to kind of do this complicated, kind of like a complicated road trip on a map to weave in those ends. So, okay. So in this one I actually have a piece that I need to cut off. Alright, and let's just finish these two. There is something that is sold in stores in the sewing section. It is this special glue, and I can't think of it right now. I'll put a link down below in the video once I find it. If you have some strands that just keep slipping out, you can actually, there's a specific kind of glue for fabric. You can just put one drop on the very end of your yarn to keep it in place and not slip out, and it actually withstands laundry. So here we have it. We have sewed in our ends, and you don't even see where they have started and where they have finished, and that is how you sew in short or even long strands. I hope you enjoyed my method, and I will see you next time, where I will show you how to make a newborn beanie hat. This will be the first project after our first 12 tutorials. Thanks for watching, and I hope you're excited for my next video, so be sure to subscribe. Bye!